Americans are confused about food. They want to eat healthier, but they don't quite know where to start. I'll show you how small changes can have a large impact on your health. For most Americans, moving toward a healthier lifestyle is as easy as this. Eat less, move more. Include more fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and legumes, and avoid processed foods high in harmful fats, sugars, and salt. Hi, I'm Laura Davidson, registered dietitian and assistant professor of nutrition at Community College of Philadelphia. Today on Good Nutrition Made Easy, we'll talk about good health and fitness for everyone. You don't have to be an elite athlete to live a gold medal lifestyle. Americans love sports. Whether watching Olympic gymnasts twist and turn their bodies through space, or a pro quarterback dodge, run, and throw the perfect pass, we marvel at the feats of elite athletes. We understand the importance of training and the discipline that is part of athletics, and we admire those who have achieved that level of physical excellence. Unfortunately, we often appreciate elite athletes while sitting on the couch with a bag of potato chips. Americans love our athletes, but most of us don't get even the minimum amount of physical activity needed to keep our bodies healthy. We cheer for our favorite teams while consuming foods that not only lack what we need for good health, but actually have substances that can harm our health. So what if we could use our admiration as inspiration? Sure, it takes discipline and dedication to become an elite athlete, but guess what? It takes discipline and dedication to push off the couch, turn off the TV, tie on a pair of walking shoes, and hit the pavement for 30 minutes of brisk walking. Maybe a gold medal won't be in your future, but what about a drop in blood pressure or a notch on the belt? Really, we all need to start training for a healthier life. I'd like to introduce Dr. Brian Renna, professor of biology at Community College of Philadelphia. Brian is not only an expert on physiology and kinesiology, he has dedicated himself to an active lifestyle. Welcome, Brian. Brian, let's start with the importance of physical activity to health. I know that you'd need hours to cover all of the benefits of a physically active lifestyle, but share some of what you think is most exciting with our viewers.
I think I can summarize it nicely by saying that the positive effects that exercise can elicit with respect to the body can increase your quality of life and can increase longevity as well. So people are able to engage in their normal daily activities and feel less tired as a result of regular physical activity. They sleep better at night. They make improvements in body composition. They can decrease their weight. And exercise training can reduce the likelihood of developing diseases, developing type 2 diabetes, developing cardiovascular disease, decreases the risk for developing hypertension. So taken all together, rather than listing a number of things, it can just improve your overall quality of life and your length of life as well.
Which is a wonderful thing. Okay, being aware of the health benefits is one thing, but actually making these changes is another. Do you have any strategies that you can give our listeners for how to dedicate themselves to a more active lifestyle? How can they inspire themselves so all of this sticks?
It can be difficult. I think that finding somebody to hold you accountable to your goals. So going back to this idea of making a contract and having somebody sign it as a witness and say that I'm going to support you in your journey to try to become a healthier, you. So that accountability, I think, is important. Somebody to support you on those mornings when you're having a tough time getting out of bed to make it to a gym. Encourage you with a phone call. Where are you? You need to get here now. We're doing this together. I think that can be very helpful. And I think goal setting is important as well. I think you might have the goal of running a marathon, but if you're going from being sedentary and never having run before to having a goal of running a marathon, it's a little unrealistic to just make that giant leap to running 26.2 miles. So setting goals and setting mini goals, and make sure that when you're setting your goals, that your goals are specific. You want to have something specific that you're working towards, all right, a goal that you can, all right, go ahead and achieve. You want to make sure that it's measurable. All right, you don't want an ambiguous goal. I want to be able to run. No, I want to be able to run, let's say, a 5K. All right, or I want to be able to run the 5K in less than 25 minutes. So you want it to be measurable. You want it to be attainable. You want to make sure you realize what your limits are and that it takes time for your body to respond to exercise. And so you want to be realistic in setting your goals. And you want to have a time frame in which you can allow yourself to achieve that goal. And I think what frustrates a lot of people is they start to exercise and they think after a week or two they should see change. They should get that notch on the belt, or they should see pounds melting away, and it takes time for the body to respond to that physical activity. So be patient, give your body time to go ahead and make those changes so that you can observe them. And I think that's a good way of approaching
yeah, it's true. You hit a couple of things that I think are very important. One is small changes are good changes, you know, so saying I'm not doing better until I do this marathon is false. You know, every step in that direction is important. Let's set up a kind of case study here. We've got a listener named Shayna. She wants to be more active, but she says she's too busy and she's too tired. I hear that all of the time. When we talk to Shayna, we can see why. She's up at 5:45 a.m. getting herself and her family ready for work and school. She rushes off to work, where she puts in a good 9 hours at her desk. She comes home to supervise dinner and homework, and then she just collapses on the couch until it's time for bed. How can Shayna become more physically active?
I'm sure there are a lot of people confronted with the same thing. I know with 3 small children at home, it is crazy at home, and then we put in a full day here, educating, inspiring our own students.
Yeah, that's right.
So finding time can be difficult. I think you need to sit down and you need to look at the day. 5:45 in the morning, would it be possible for her to get up maybe a little earlier, maybe at 5 o'clock, and see if she could get about a half hour of exercise in, whether she's stepping in front of the television, whether she goes out for a brisk walk, or maybe she has a treadmill at home, or has something that she could do in her house before everybody gets up. It's good time alone, time to think, to be physically active. Maybe some time with the family, all right, at the end of the day. Maybe after the homework is completed, after everybody's cleaned up, or maybe before they get cleaned up, go out and go for a nice walk. And even explore time during the day, depending on, who she's employed by. They may have a fitness facility on her work site, and maybe she could take a half hour out of her lunch to go be physically active and again, take a walk, run on the treadmill, lift some weights, whatever the case may be. So there's lots of opportunities if you sit down and you just kind of map out the day where you can hopefully find a half hour to commit to yourself, to improving your quality of life and giving giving yourself a good opportunity to be healthy.
And as far as her being tired, once she begins and sets this in motion, she'll actually become more energetic, correct? Yeah. So I always tell students, you get that time back because you will get more done, be more energetic. Do you have any last words of advice for our listeners?
The most important thing to remember is, like I said earlier, to be patient, that it takes time for the body to respond to exercise training, so you can't give up on it after a week or two, right? Set yourself a realistic mini goal of, again, perhaps maybe running a 5K, or maybe you don't even have to run the whole 5K. Maybe if you want to jog the 5K, but set yourself a realistic goal, give yourself a reasonable time frame to try to achieve that goal, and then stay committed to that. And use the people around you, use family, use friends, use coworkers to support you in your endeavor to try to become a healthier and happier and you.
Yeah, what could be more important than that? Thank you so much for joining us today, Brian. As usual, you gave the listeners great information that they can apply.
Thank you.
When we come back, we're going to talk about the food part of your fitness regimen. Welcome back. I'd like to introduce 2 guests who are also students at Community College of Philadelphia. Katarina Ralph, welcome, and Bashar Alwan, welcome. Thanks for helping me out today. Katarina, let's start with you. What's the biggest challenge that you face in making healthy food choices?
I think one of the biggest challenges that I face is being consistent in my effort to eat healthy.
Okay, it is hard, isn't it? So on a day-to-day, meal-to-meal, choice-to-choice basis.
Yes.
Okay. And Bashar, why do you think it's so difficult for Americans to resist the unhealthy foods?
Because they are surrounded by unhealthy food and they live with the unhealthy food.
That is very true. We've talked about the fact in class that you eat what you see. So when you see this everywhere, it becomes very difficult. We're going to spend a lot of time talking about food choices. But before we do, I wanted to share a few excerpts from one of my favorite authors and a very quick and easy book, Michael Pollan's Food Rules. Michael Pollan boils down nutrition advice to 3 very simple statements. Eat food, mostly plants, not too much. But where it gets interesting is how he describes food in Eat Food. He says things like avoid food products containing ingredients that no ordinary human would keep in the pantry. He says avoid food products that contain more than 5 ingredients or that a 3rd grader cannot pronounce. Now, when we're comparing those food choices, and for instance, here we have snack food choices, an apple versus perhaps cheese curls. Well, right off the bat, 1 ingredient. It is an apple. When you look at cheese curls, let's just go with that no more than 5 ingredients. Bashar, give it a quick count. How many ingredients, take an estimate there, do you think are in cheese curls?
I think it's around 40 or 45.
Okay, there's a lot of ingredients. And are you spotting any that look like things a 3rd grader could not pronounce? There are actually quite a few down at the end there, aren't there?
Yes.
Tocopherols.
Maltodextrin.
Okay,
Yeah.
it sounds more like a chemistry lab than it does like a food. What Pollan is describing is how to make healthier food choices by choosing fresh or lightly processed foods instead of heavily processed. Can you do that all the time? Probably not. But each time you choose a real food instead of what he calls an edible food-like substance, you're doing your body a gigantic favor. Chances are you're cutting back on calories while consuming more of the wonderful substances that real food provides. By choosing more real or whole foods, you're putting together a diet for good health. Now, what are the top 2 reasons people say that they can't eat a healthy diet? What do you think?
I think one of it is because of bad habit.
Okay, habits. I was thinking, any ideas?
I think they just like the
what
unhealthy
they're using.
food.
So you're both saying habits. I think they mention a lot, they don't have the time and it costs too much. So when we're looking at food choices here, what I want to do is appreciate that. You know, people are very, very busy and all of us are trying to stretch a dollar and it is challenging. But sometimes I think that we've been convinced that unhealthy food is always cheaper and quicker, and that's just not true. Okay, so we're going to have a food competition of sorts. We're going to look at pairs of foods and compare them in terms of time and cost and nutritional value, and then the best one wins. So let's start out here. We've got, and I do have to look at some of my data here. We've got a fancy drink from Dunkin' Donuts. So let's say that that is a vanilla bean colada, okay? And a coffee roll, all right? Breakfast. Is it quick?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Do you think it's inexpensive? Is it cheap?
I
No.
would say. Yes.
Not
No?
really.
Yeah, you know what? That's probably close to $6 or so. Okay, so it's quick. It is, I don't call that inexpensive. I'll show you how you can do much better. And take a guess. How many calories do you think?
I think more than 1,000.
You're a very good guesser. It has 1,260 calories.
Wow.
It's a lot. Now, I'm a big fan of a yogurt parfait because they're so easy. But if you put together some yogurt, some berries, and I've got some granola from my, this is a low-fat granola. If you put that together, would that be quick?
Yes.
Yes.
It doesn't take that long, actually. And the cost is down under $2, all right? As far as the calories, and we can look much further than that because the berries are loaded with phytochemicals. They're so excellent for you. You got your calcium and your protein and your yogurt, your fiber and your granola. The calories, 300
Wow.
versus 1,200. So which is our winner food right here?
The 300 calories.
Okay, and it's not more expensive, and it's not more difficult to put together. So I'm going to slide that off camera to the winner circle there. Okay, it is snack time now, all right? And we're grabbing our candy bar, or I have an option, okay? I have an option of a pack of almonds, okay? Now, once again, is the candy bar quick?
Yes.
Yes.
It is quick. Okay, I will give you that. It is quick. If I purchase these almonds and then take one in the morning and throw it in my handbag, or you could throw it in your backpack, is that quick?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you see what I'm getting at here? I'm
Right.
trying to dispel some
Equal
myth.
quickness.
Okay, equal quickness. And as far as the cost, now I bought the candy bar at a little deli type, but it was $1.19.
Okay.
And when you do the math for the almonds, they actually come out to 50 cents. Once again, we think that it's cheaper and it's easier to eat the unhealthy stuff. It doesn't really hold true. Besides being fewer calories, which I didn't tell you that, 200 versus 280 in the candy bar. What else has the candy bar got that you don't want?
Sugar.
Okay, and we talked a lot about that in class. I'm not sure if I can get to the sugar real quickly. Help me here,
This
Bashir.
is
Do
30
you see-
grams.
30 grams of sugar. This candy bar actually makes it very easy for us there on the label. The students learned in class to figure out the teaspoons of sugar in that candy bar. You divide by 4. So where are we? A little over 7, right?
Yes.
7.5.
Now, they also learned recently that the American Heart Association has capped our sugar limit at 6 teaspoons for a woman,
And
And 4 for
or 9 for a
Nine.
man.
Nine.
9 for a man. So we are above our limit for a woman with one candy bar. With the almonds, what's the ingredients in the bag of almonds? What do you think?
fiber.
Almonds, right?
Yeah.
As far as the food ingredients, we could actually look here and it's 1. It says almonds. There is no added sugar. They're very healthy. They have the right type of fats. They have fiber, as you mentioned, and which is the winner of that competition? Say almonds. All right, let's see what we've got. I believe for lunch I don't have a visual for you, but let's talk about this a little bit. If you run into Burger King and get a Whopper and a French fries, what does that cost you? Anybody, are you a fan of Burger King?
it's like $5.
5,
maybe?
it depends. You can get a lot of value meals. And people, once again, will support that choice by saying, where can you get that lunch for $5? But how much do you think it costs to make a tuna sandwich, throw some carrots in a bag, and maybe an apple? What do you think the cost of a brown bag lunch would be?
Maybe $4 or $3.
Yeah, closer to
Yes.
$3. So the brown bag, well, let's ask here, if we had the ingredients at the ready, so you'd have to do some planning, how long would it take to put together a lunch like that?
Not long.
Not long.
Oh,
Longer
quickly.
than waiting in the line at Burger King?
Yeah, maybe less than 5 minutes.
Less than 5 minutes.
Right.
So again, we're convinced that eating healthier is a choice in which we lose something, but we don't. And in fact, that Whopper running around $5 for the Whopper and French fries, making the lunch would be around $3. Plus, what do you get in a tuna sandwich on whole wheat bread with an apple and a carrots that you don't get in your fast food meal?
All the nutrition.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. A lot of
Protein,
nutrients.
vitamins.
We're trying to show in this competition of sorts, that making the choice for a healthy food doesn't always have to be something, and many times isn't, that costs you more time or costs you more money. Afternoon snack here. Okay, what do I have? I have the chips and I have the apple. Okay, now I will say a lot of these changes are behavior changes. Trying to, and you mentioned this, being consistent with these new behaviors. Behavior changes in which you train yourself to reach for that is healthier. The one ingredient food, the actual whole food. When you compare calories, 80 calories in an apple. Katarina, check the calories in
140 and 290.
Okay, what did you do? What did you notice?
I noticed that this package contained 2 servings.
Okay, so you had to do the math, didn't you? So there's a big difference. As long as you have that facts label there, is there anything else that jumps out at you as being a problem? How's the sodium on those?
Yes, the sodium will be doubled.
Okay.
Because if you eat the entire package, you'll be eating for 2 people.
Exactly. So these are not a nutrient-dense food choice. This is, the cost of a bag of chips, I wrote all of this down here, is about $1. I think at most markets or stores you can get an apple for half of that.
50
Yeah,
cents,
even
right.
when you're paying, produce is expensive, but again, what are you paying for? You're paying less than that bag of chips. You get more nutritional value, fewer calories, which is a concern for most Americans, and an all-around better choice. And which is quicker? We forgot the time factor.
The apple.
The apple is,
Yes.
it has to do with, of course, having these things handy, planning a little bit so you get the right things at the market. But once again, our winner's circle, we have the whole food. Okay. Now we're here at dinner time. And what I wanted to compare, kind of in a thinking of this instead of seeing it, is Chinese takeout versus preparing your own meal at home. So if we do something like Chinese takeout, and let's say one of everyone's favorites is General Tso's chicken, okay? So if we get that, what do you think, $5 to $8 for Chinese?
I would say $8.
$8 perhaps. The calories in that are somewhere just short of 1,000.
Okay.
And the nutritional value, not the greatest, right? A lot of sodium, a
Right.
lot of fat. Now here's what takes a lot of convincing. Can you put together a home-cooked meal in maybe under 15 minutes? Is that possible?
Yes.
I think it is.
It is. Again, can you think of one that you would consider healthy and you could put together on the spot like that if you had things handy?
I can do tuna.
Okay.
Tuna salad.
Okay, tuna salad, some kind of whole grain roll, a
Yes.
vegetable on the side.
Yes.
I had written down here salmon. Now salmon's even, a little bit more expensive, but you can have salmon and rice and broccoli, maybe definitely under 30 minutes, about $5, so that's less than the takeout, and half of the calories. One of the things they found, and it was interesting as I was going through my numbers here, they find that people who eat out, take out, drive through, people who are not making their own meals, sometimes almost double the calories they consume. And
Right.
across the board, that's what we're seeing in these food choices. When you pick the chips instead of the apple, you are actually doubling the calories of that snack. And not only that, we did mention nutrient density, getting far fewer nutrients as part of that. Again, it's not easy. It takes retraining. But my point is, I think we can do this. Okay, lastly, I wanted to look at our night snack. And for a nice snack, and this is such an easy game, isn't it? But for a nice night snack, I actually have some cookies and some kettle popped popcorn. So this popcorn was actually from the corn. Get out your kettle, put a little healthy oil in there and pop it up. It's one of my favorite snacks. It's delicious. But I have this 3 cups of popcorn and compared to the cookies. Check out, Bashar, the calories in And note, there are 4 servings in the container. So
There is 2 serving size for these cookies, and the calories is 120 for each.
2. Yeah, for 2 cookies, 120. So for this entire container, it's actually 480 calories.
Wow.
What the students are doing is something that you have to remember to do, and that is when you work with a label, you need to take note of the portion size or the serving size. So if you're eating double or triple, you certainly have to do the math for that, and that's the case with these cookies. Now, as far as the popcorn, in a fraction of the price and a few minutes, you actually get only 192 calories at a cost of maybe 50 cents. I think it's even less than that. Okay? Now, I don't want to minimize the difficulty of behavior change, but when you look at the issues of nutritional value, time, and costs, the real food is winning, isn't it?
Yes.
Right.
You know, what we call whole foods or real foods, they always come out ahead. I think that we're brainwashed to believe that making healthy changes is just too difficult for the average person. It is tough. It takes real dedication, attention, and focus, but you can do it. You can embark upon a training regimen for a gold medal lifestyle. Incorporate more movement into your daily life. Choose foods that are less processed. Start your training today. This is Laura Davidson with Katarina and Bashar on Good Nutrition Made Easy on CCP TV. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for having us.
If you have any questions about this program, please don't hesitate to call the college.